charts this week.
What flesh is to bone, what sorrow is to a tear, what touch is to someone alone, what bravery is to fear, Little Walter is to the blues.
Little Walter, blues fans know that name. He didn't just play the harmonica, he redefined it. Born and raised in the heart of Louisiana, he took the soulful sound of the blues and made it his own, turning the harmonica into a rock star instrument. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. His genius on stage was matched only by the chaos in his personal life. Let's dive into the life of the man who made the harmonica roar and set the blues world on fire while doing it.
Oh yes, I know you love me. You don't do nothing but kill.
Little Walter, born Marion Walter Jacobs, grew up on a farm in Louisiana, surrounded by the soulful sounds of Southern blues. From the jump, he had a thing for music, especially the harmonica, and it didn't take long for him to start making waves. As a teen, he hit up street corners in cities like New Orleans, Memphis, and St. Louis, playing his heart out and perfecting that signature sound. The hustle on those busy streets was the perfect place for him to experiment and connect with all kinds of people, shaping the unique style that would make him a blues legend. At just 16, Little Walter bounced to Chicago, where the blues scene was booming. That's where he linked up with the greats, like Muddy Waters, and started getting serious recognition. He had mad skills on the harmonica, but there was one problem. His acoustic harmonica couldn't hold its own against the loud electric guitars that were taking over the sound. But Walter wasn't about to let that stop him. He figured out a way to turn his harmonica into a powerhouse, setting the stage for his own legendary career. Walter wasn't about to let those electric guitars drown him out, so he got creative. He grabbed a tiny mic, cupped it with his hands along with his harmonica, and plugged it into a PA system or guitar amp. This move took his sound to the next level, blasting through the speakers and giving him the power to compete with the electric instruments. Little did he know, this game-changing hack would not only change his music, but also shake up the whole electric blues scene. Walter's big break came when he hit up Sun Studios in Memphis, with the legendary Sam Phillips calling the shots. That session gave us bangers. His deep, raspy voice and one-of-a-kind sound really stole the show. Those tracks packed all the raw energy and emotion that would become his signature and set him apart from everyone else. Walter's career took off when he signed with Chess Records in Chicago, where he dropped some of his most legendary tracks. He wasn't just sticking to the usual blues sounds. He mixed things up, adding his own spin that changed the game. His harmonica playing was next level, full of raw intensity and skill, setting the bar for blues players and influencing artists in all kinds of genres.
We're playing Little Walter's My Babe, #1 on the charts this week.
Even though Walter was killing it with his music, his personal life was a mess. He had a serious struggle with alcohol that started early in his career and only got worse. Habits led to some pretty wild, unpredictable behavior, which messed with both his personal life and his professional career. Walter's drinking caused major drama with his band and the blues scene. His wild behavior led to blow-ups and fights, and we're talking serious stuff, sometimes even injuries that messed with his ability to perform. His anger, amped up by made him tough to work with, even though he was a total legend with the harmonica. Walter's personal chaos started to cloud his career. Even though his music still hit, his life was all over the place. The whole mix of big career moments and personal drama kept him stuck in a tough cycle. Drinking also led to missed chances and off performances, which made it harder for him to keep riding the wave of his earlier success. On top of everything, Walter's health started to take a hit. All those years of hard drinking messed with his body, and he had to deal with a bunch of health issues. Still, his love for music kept him going. But honestly, between his personal struggles and his health, even his insane talent couldn't keep him from hitting a wall. Walter's last years were a mess. His career had basically slowed to a crawl, and he was constantly caught up in drama. Even though his friends and fellow musicians tried to help, his addiction was just too much to handle. Unfortunately, he passed away after getting hurt in a street fight, ending a life full of incredible music and personal chaos.
Which one of you motherfuckers is Lil Walter?
I am, fool.
His career had its ups, but it was also full of drama. So much drama, they made a movie about it. Dude had a temper, and it wasn't unusual for him to get into bar fights. This gave him a reputation as a troublemaker in the blues world. His drinking was at the heart of it all, fueling his explosive side and overshadowing everything else he had going for him. Walter didn't just bring the heat on stage. Dude had a short fuse off of it too. He was constantly getting into fights, especially at bars, and it seriously messed with his health. These weren't just random scraps. They left him with injuries that messed up his ability to perform and kept his career from hitting its full stride. His bad temper made it tough for people to work with him, even though his talent was undeniable. Walter wasn't exactly the easiest guy to get along with in the blues scene. His outbursts and unpredictable behavior caused major drama, even with people who respected his music. Throw in his drinking problem, and it only made things worse, fueling his fiery temper and causing even more chaos.
Okay.
His love life was just as messy as his career. While we don't have all the deets, it's clear his personal chaos and unpredictable behavior made it tough for him to keep things steady with anyone. It was like the drama followed him everywhere. He had his share of relationships, but his battle with booze and that short fuse of his definitely made things messy. Constant bar brawls and drama didn't exactly set him up for smooth sailing in love. The same fire that made his music unforgettable also made his personal life a bit of a train wreck. His drinking really made things tricky in his love life. His unpredictable behavior and short temper from the booze created major stress for the women in his life. They had to deal with the genius musician they loved, but also the troubled guy who couldn't quite keep it together. It was a tough balancing act, and those relationships were never easy to maintain. Even with all the chaos in his personal life, Walter had some real moments of connection in his relationships. Sure, they were full of drama, but they also sparked the kind of raw, emotional energy that made his blues so powerful. Those highs and lows definitely showed up in his music.
What flesh is to bone, what sorrow is to a tear, what touch is to someone alone, what bravery is to fear, Little Walter is to the blues.
Little Walter's impact on music is straight up legendary. Growing up in Louisiana, he was surrounded by that Southern blues sound, and he took it to new heights. From the streets of New Orleans to the music scene in Chicago, his journey is proof of how insanely talented and innovative he was. He completely flipped the script on the harmonica, turning it from a sidekick instrument into the main act. Thanks to his genius with amps, the harmonica could finally stand up against electric guitars and the rest of the band. His game-changing style didn't just make his music pop, it set the stage for a whole generation of musicians who followed his lead. Walter's tracks are straight-up legendary. Songs like Juke, My Babe, and Sad Hours are still classics, proving how next level he was. Juke was a game changer, being the first harmonica tune to hit #1 on the Billboard R&B charts, basically locking him in as a music icon. These tracks, full of raw energy and real emotion, set the bar for blues, showing how Walter mixed the old school with fresh new sounds. Little Walter wasn't just a blues king. His impact spread into rock and roll and beyond. His unique sound and powerful stage presence inspired huge names like the Rolling Stones and Eric Clapton. His influence is still all over music today, with artists from every genre channeling his style and making sure his legacy lives on. His issues aren't isolated, though. In the blues world at the time, other geniuses of the time had issues.
That's coming, gonna be a son of a gun.
Muddy Waters, real name McKinley Morganfield, was one of the biggest names in Chicago blues and a key player in Little Walter's story. But behind all that talent was a guy battling some serious demons with the bottle. His drinking caused more than a few headaches, both on stage and off, shaking up his band and his personal life in ways that weren't exactly great.
Start at midnight, stay out till the dawn, and when she comes in line, I just take her in my arms and
The king of the blues himself, B.B. King, Riley B. King, had an epic career that solidified his place in music history. But even the greats have their struggles, and for B.B. it was a tough fight with alcohol. Luckily, he managed to leave that chapter behind, though it definitely left its mark along the way. Sonny Boy Williamson II, aka Alec Ford or Rice Miller, was another blues legend who couldn't escape the grip of alcohol. His made his career a rocky ride, creating health problems and plenty of drama with his fellow musicians. Elmore James wasn't just any guitarist. He was the guy who made slide guitar iconic. But his story got cut short thanks to his heavy drinking, which wrecked his health and ended his life way too soon at just 45. Even with all that chaos, his music still defines the blues for many fans.
How many more years till I...
Chester Arthur Burnett, better known as Howlin' Wolf, had one of the most unforgettable voices in blues history. But his struggles with alcohol were no secret. It brought health issues and occasional drama, but he still managed to dominate the stage and stay at the top of his game.